And now a consumer watchdog of the financial industry and co-founder of GuardVest. I had him on my show last week, and I talked with Steve after that and asked him if he would like to be my permanent guest on Friday during the wealth portion. He agreed to do that. And today we're going to talk about the biggest mistakes that investors make. Steve, welcome to Health, Wealth, and Happiness.
Well, welcome to you, South Carolina. Thank you very much.
Now, when we talk about making mistakes in investment, I guess it's what you invest in and how you invest that you'd like to talk about.
Well, I mean, what we try to do is tell people that if you are counting on retiring at some point, which, most of us are, and you just give your money over and turn it over to somebody and never look at it and just sort of check out, that's a massive, massive mistake. That could make you put you in a position where you either spend a lot less than you could in retirement or you end up working a lot more because you're paying excessive fees. And we try to get people involved without having them spend a lot of time. So there's mistakes that can be really, really easily fixed. And if you don't fix them, it's candidly pretty dangerous.
Yeah, and I know that there are those people that say, I can do this on my own. There are others who say, I need a financial planner. How do you know whether your financial planner is doing you favors or is a crook?
You don't, unless you are holding them accountable. And so there are the vast majority of people that put their money with an advisor. And let me just say, I believe wholeheartedly that the vast majority of financial advisors mean well, right? They're ethical, they're intending to do the right thing. Unfortunately, I think that most of them, however, charge more than they need to for their services. So you don't know if your advisor is good or bad unless you are poring over the massive amount of paperwork that they send you. You're comparing it versus indexes. You're meeting with your advisor a lot. And most people just don't. Most people set it and forget it and just kind of check out and then hope for the best. And hope is not a strategy.
No, it is not. And, you mentioned index funds. Right out of the chute, index funds have been proven over the years to be a pretty sound investment from a couple of standpoints. First of all, if you invest in index funds, there are no fees involved, so you're not paying anybody anything for that. And in the long haul, index funds have been proven to be a pretty sound investment and do pretty well against those people that think, I'm going to buy my stocks one at a time and I'm going to laser in on certain stocks rather than buying a whole basket full of stocks at one time.
Right. Well, a couple things. I mean, index funds, there's always a price associated with something. They are certainly very, very minimal in index funds. 82% of money managers can't beat the index. So right out of the gate, if you're paying somebody to actively manage an S&P 500 benchmark fund, you're taking the odds that you're in the 18% that can actually outperform.
And just let me interrupt long enough to say this. Here's the deal about people who are the superstars of any financial situation where they are managing your funds. These people are just like superstar athletes. They're bought and sold in the marketplace. If they've got a great track record and they're attached to one particular fund, by God, somebody's going to come after them, offer them more money, more perks, to get them away from that fund. And so a fund that's done really well, that you've heard of, and you say, by God, I'm going to, instead of being in this index fund, I'm going to go with this particular fund. You better make sure that the guy or gal that got them to the top is still with them. Because, it's like anything else in sports. You change managers, you change coaches. Doesn't always mean that the past record is going to continue on.
Well, and all over every page and every document that you get from a Wall Street firm, it says past performance is no guarantee of future results.
Amen, so, brother.
What I think advisors help is they can sit down, they understand your risk tolerance, they understand what kind of rate of return you're trying to get. They can do an awful lot of things. The challenge that I have is that, in an environment where a typical 60-40, 60% stocks, 40% bonds portfolio, for 37 years, that's averaged around 8.5%, 9%. That number by any credible economist going forward is like 5.5%. So now you take an advisor that charges 2.5%, and you underperform by 2 or 3%. It's highly likely highly that the investor ends up with nothing, truthfully. And that's why I quit the business. I couldn't get behind that.
And not only do they end up with nothing, by the time you figure the cost of living, they lost money.
Right. If you know, inflation, taxes, all those kind of things. So what we do is I'll give you a number that will shock you. There's an IBM report that was released not too long ago that said that last year alone, if you look at excessive fees and underperformance, Wall Street cost the average investors $600 billion.
Ouch.
So
Wow.
Built GuardVest, because let me tell you what, GuardVest is going to go get it back. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to allow people to input they go in, they sign up for GuardVest, they put in the username and the password, and in 60 seconds, they get a confidential, unbiased report card that shows how their advisor's doing versus other investors like them, shows them all their fees, right, which they're always shocked by, and then if they need to find a new advisor, there's a better way to do it. So we basically take all that mucky that Wall Street sends you and we compress it into one page, and we aren't salespeople. We're not trying to manage your money. We're not trying to get you to fire your advisor. It's a free tool. We simply know where all the bodies are buried, and we're going to go get that $600 billion back, believe me.
And there are some better than others. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely. And a good one is worth his or her weight in gold. But what I always say to people is, you know, what we have is what's called the advisor report card. You want to make sure that you have an A student, and you want to make sure that you're getting the majority of the returns. Because think about it this way. You're putting down all the money. You're taking all the risk. And they're going to take half your return and still take a fee. I don't like those odds.
No.
A good one won't do that. A good one will do a really good job for you, and they earn every dime of what they charge. You cannot go with somebody that charges you 2.5%.
Well, you know,
under $1 million, that's what you're paying.
I think the key word that you just said in that sentence is earn, is it not? You ought to be working with somebody that earns their keep.
Yeah, tell me where else you go in and you hire somebody and you give them something that's as important as your nest egg, and you have no idea what you pay. I've never met one person, and I've been in this business for 25 years. I have never met one person that knows what they pay their financial advisor. So here's my question. What are the odds that when they find out, they're going to be pleasantly surprised?
0, I'm going to guess.
Zero. And here's the other thing. If you're trying to find a financial advisor, and let's say you have an account at one firm and you're going to go look at another, you got recommended to another person, and you say, listen, I'm over at XYZ firm. Do you think they're doing a good job? Firm ABC is never going to say, yeah, you're getting a good deal, ever. There's a 0% chance they're going to say that what you're getting is a good deal. What we're going to do is say, if you're getting a good deal, we're going to validate who you're with. If you're not getting a good deal, we're going to give you the opportunity to work with somebody without paying them for a while until you get comfortable. We're going to transform this business because I'll tell you, it needs to be transformed.
The unfortunate thing is that so many times people will stay with somebody even though they're being had because, A, they don't know how bad they're being had, or they just feel comfortable at being had. Well, yeah, but you got to understand, Steve, Fred's a nice guy.
Right.
Well, that and $1 will buy you a cup of coffee. I'm sorry, but being a nice guy doesn't cut it in the financial world, in my opinion.
Well, let me give you a story around that. It just happened to me at about 8 o'clock this morning. So I have an individual that is close to me that's come over and ran through their report card and said, well, I made 10% in 2013. And I like this guy. I like him a lot. He's a good guy. He's a nice guy. It's great. So if you'd have been in the exact same risk tolerance in index funds, you'd have made 17%. And in this particular gentleman's portfolio, that was $170,000 difference. So what I said to him is, so what you paid last year for likability is $170,000.
Boy, listen, I'll be nice as hell to you for $170,000. Try me.
Well, I'm a nice guy for free. You cannot pay for likability. And what I tell people all the time is that's not, unfortunately, that $170,000 I referenced is not the end of the story. Because what you have to do is you have to extrapolate that out and say, if I'd have kept that in, and it would have compounded, even at a modest rate, 3 or 4%, it's millions of dollars that would have gone to my family. Millions. Can't do it. I don't like anybody that much, and neither should anybody else. You can like them. You should like them. But you don't have to pay for likability. We call it the likability premium. The too high, you got to make a move.
Boy, that's a great example. That really is.
It happens because people just put their head in the sand and just say, I don't, you know, Joe would never do that to me. Mike would, and listen, they don't want to do it that way, but the firms make them do it that way. If you think about it, I mean, CEOs of these companies are going to pull out $200-300 million. You know what Dick Fold at Lehman Brothers ran Lehman Brothers into the ground? You know how much money he made at Lehman? They were around since 1880. He made $500 million, and they're not even a company anymore.
That's not a bad return on somebody that runs a company on the ground. The other thing to step aside from just that, the same can be said for people who buy insurance. Pick your favorite kind of insurance. Rarely ever does anyone leave an insurance company unless they feel like they've been turned down on a claim or something has happened that they feel that they've been misused. They stay with that company year in and year out. They never ever think about, just for chuckles, I think I will check and see if anybody else in the insurance industry has an equal or better product at a cheaper premium, just for kicks. They never do that.
You'd be surprised. I mean, you obviously hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's surprising to me how often people don't actually check on that. And what you can find a lot of times with life insurance, and I know that business extremely well, is you can go in for no additional fee, and you can actually get a heck of a lot more coverage if you're insurable. And so it's like anything else. Anything that you don't pay attention to over time, and you don't give it its normal maintenance, is going to suffer. You get oil changes in your car, right? You do a spring cleaning on your house. You kind of take care of things. This is the one thing in the world that is arguably in the top 3 or 4 most important things in your life that people never pay attention to and just hope for the best. It's crazy to me, and the reason is because they're busy. And so what we've done at guardvest.com is we've taken all the busy work and put it right at your fingertips. In 60 seconds, you can find out if you're on the right track or not.
Yeah, and what you said earlier about dealing with somebody who's in the financial world, that holds true in the insurance business. If you say to somebody, I'd like to check and see if somebody's got a better product than you, they're going to say, oh no, nobody has a better product than our company.
Right.
I've never heard anybody ever say, you're probably right. There's probably is a better product out there than mine.
It's the businesses, you're not compensated that way. So compensation drives behavior. And if you're compensating people only on selling, which is, make no mistake about it, what those businesses are, both the brokerage business and the insurance business. Nobody ever asked me when I hired a financial advisor, what do they think about hedging currency? All they ever ask me is, can this person sell? Can they sell? So you're dealing with a salesperson. By the way, that's what I am. There's honor in that. I got no problem to saying I'm a salesperson. But you can't charge a perfect price for an imperfect business. And that's what they do, and that's what we're going to stop.
For those people who are interested in your product, how can they get it?
Oh, it's very simple. You go to www.guardvest.com, you create an account, you click report card, you create an account, and then you link your financial institution. It is bank-level security. So you link your account, and you'll see a report card that pops up literally within 1 minute, and it'll tell you everything that you need to know about your advisor, how much you're paying, and then if you want to look for a new advisor, we offer what's called a free look portfolio, where we invite advisors to actually tell you what they would do for you for free and let you try them out for a while. It's like test driving a car.
I thank you so very much for coming and sharing on health, wealth, and happiness, and I'll see you back here next week.
You have a great day and a great weekend.